Hi, thanks for joining us on City Talk. I'm Tom Conklin, and on the program today, we've got a couple of folks from Greylock Federal Credit Union with us. And joining me, first of all, on the program, John Bissell. He's the president and CEO of Greylock Federal Credit Union. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, Tom. Thanks for having us today.
My pleasure. And also with me this morning is Jodi Rathbun-Briggs. She's the senior vice president and chief lending officer. Hey.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Happy to be here.
Nice to have you too. Good morning to you both. So, I guess the theme of this program, in my mind anyway, is banking in the era of COVID-19. And we're right smack in the middle of that. And it's a strange time, right? We're dealing with a lot of stuff. So, when you think about it, so 3 months ago, we never would have thought of going anywhere near a bank wearing a mask. But it's commonplace now, and depending on whether banks' lobbies are open or if just drive-throughs or whatever, even so, going to a bank with a mask is, something that's commonplace, and it could last for quite a while. So how is Greylock dealing with that situation? It's kind of strange for a bank, right?
It sure is, Tom. Yeah, I mean, you put your finger on a key issue, which is really the cultural change, the adaptation that we need to do as professionals. And I think the great news is all of our teams at Greylock, and I think at the other community banks in our region as well, have shown is a great amount of adaptability. I'm just really grateful for how hard our teams have been working to shift the business model and shift our practices quickly to meet the needs of the community. The good news for us is our community has also shifted. In our region, it has felt like teamwork inside of Greylock, but also out in the community. It feels like people really have each other's backs. They're looking out for each other's health and safety. And so in the future, as we begin to open up some limited access in our branch lobbies, we know that our members who are coming to see us, coming to see our folks, will respect the need to protect each other. We've taken a lot of steps to do that throughout this pandemic, and we're going to keep that right on going. Because as you said, this is probably with us for the foreseeable future. But I think the good news is in our region, it has felt very mutual. It's really felt like folks, they get it. And people aren't, in my experience at least, are being smart. They're really trying to take good care of each other.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we didn't have a lot of time really to prepare
Right,
for all this. And
right.
as far as, it's evident by, the numbers in the state right now and how we're doing,
Yeah,
as to how we're all dealing with the situation.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So going forward, there's going to be a time eventually where we get um, kind of an all clear, not so much. I don't know if there is such a thing, but uh, when we're past the point where we don't have to wear a mask anymore,
Yeah.
I was thinking, maybe some people may still want to wear a mask. And so, how would the bank deal with that? I mean, normally walking into a bank with a mask on your face isn't something that you want to
Yeah.
do normally, right?
No, it's a great point. It's a great point. It's a sensitive issue because some people, may choose to or need to continue to wear a mask for medical reasons or for other reasons. And what we have is we've always had this for decades, a know your member, like know the person you're talking to
Hmm.
kind of philosophy. And under all kinds of challenging circumstances, our frontline folks, I really feel like they're the best in the business. And they've been able to uphold that philosophy under all kinds of conditions. This is a new one, but I think those same, inclusive and responsive tendencies that our teams have will serve us well in this too. So we've talked about it a lot. It's really been a
Yeah.
key conversation for us, and our frontline folks and our managers really feel confident that we're going to get through this just fine together. It's not going to be
Sure.
simple every day, but we have a lot of confidence in our frontline folks that they can figure that out and confirm that they know who they're speaking with and can handle the situation appropriately.
Right, sure, absolutely. So, as far as the status of the bank, as far
hmm
as everyday banking and the things that your customers do on a daily basis, whether it's
Right.
for a small business or for just their personal banking, what is the status of that at Greylock right now?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I'm going to ask Jody to comment on the lending. Generally, it's we have had all services fully available since day one and continuously throughout. and that was not easy to accomplish. It's really a tribute to the tremendous work of our IT teams and our operations teams, our branch folks, everyone, every single person from HR to marketing to you name it, has busted their backs to make sure that all those services were available. And Jodi, I'd love to have you comment on how the lending side of the operation has accomplished that.
Sure. Thank you, John. And that's a great question, Tom. And the lending side, it's like we've never skipped a beat. The applications that we used to be able to take in person, we've found ways to take them either digitally or over the phone for those that might not have internet or a computer at home. Our mortgage lending business is off the charts right now. We're seeing a lot of people buying mortgages, and we're doing that, working with the borrower virtually, remotely, as much as possible. As far as the lending area is concerned, meaning consumer loans, people that are looking for auto loans, people that are looking for personal loans, all of that is widely available. And we saw that a lot of our in-branch applications converted right over to a web application or a phone application. So we are still providing all those services, and actually more than ever.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And Tom, if I could just add, I think Jodi's spot on, and we've been able to deliver all of our services. We've just had to do it differently. And we've seen our members work with us to really figure out what's working best for them. Obviously, our drive-ups have become a key channel for us. They've always been important, but now they're vital. And the traffic at those locations has been heavy, but people are very accommodating and
Sure.
working with us on that. We've also seen a lot of people move to our online channel, which we're grateful for. When this started, we had a strong online banking capability and mobile banking capability, and we've seen people adopt that in ever greater numbers. Just to
Hmm.
give you a feel for that, more than 2,000 2,000 of our members became new online bankers since this started. So we
Wow.
now have almost 39,000 Greylock members are banking online, and the transactions going through that online channel are way, way up. We had 1.5 million transactions online in April for Greylock.
Hmm.
It's a huge number.
Yeah.
The
That's it.
phone channel has also been really important for us. We have some of our folks in branches who we no longer had branch lobbies accessible for a period of time. So those frontline folks are now staffing the phones, which has been really important because our average call volume before the pandemic was about 1,900 per week, and we're now averaging about 3,000 calls per week.
Hmm. Wow.
And as you might expect, some of those calls are complicated, and I just can't say enough good things about our teams that have been responsive and switched their roles so fluidly to make sure that we're there for folks.
Sure. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the mobile banking? Because personally, I find it fantastic. I
Yeah,
appreciate being able to do things like, deposit a check and,
yeah,
switch, send money from one account to another. That
yeah,
type
great. I'm glad it sounds like you're a power user. That's awesome. So we have the online banking, meaning if you're at your laptop or your PC, so you have like a full web-based online banking. But as you said, we also have mobile banking. So if you have a smartphone or a tablet, that's really the function that I use most often. That has increased tremendously. You could do everything from deposit a check just by taking a picture of it. We've seen a huge increase in that functionality as well. We had almost 2,000 folks opt into that platform, the remote deposit capture, we call it, just in the last couple of months. And that mobile app, thankfully, we had upgraded it recently, a couple of years ago. We had a reasonably okay platform, but we replaced it with something much, much stronger. And as Jodi said, on the lending side, we've
Mm.
also had to serve those channels differently, right, Jodi?
Yes, turning to online applications. There's just a story that comes to mind where there was a person that didn't have access, and the way that they went about transferring information and dropping stuff off at the drive up, it was about being able to just get the stuff done, get the loan done for the member's need, regardless of what their ability is as far as their digital interaction with us or their ability to come to the drive up. I think it really speaks to the adaptation of the staff as well as how accommodating our members have been. We've changed their lives, and they're willing to change with us to make sure that their banking needs are met. I do want to add to John's point about the increase in online banking activity and the use of our digital services. For many, that can seem to be overwhelming if they haven't had an online presence before, if they're not used to interacting. There are a number of little training videos on our website that can help somebody get hooked up with online banking, understand how bill pay works, to be able to do remote deposit capture on their phone. So if any of this is intimidating, just a quick look at our website can give some really user-friendly advice on how to get started digitally with us. And of
You've got
course, if anybody calls us, we're happy to work through that with them too.
Sure. You've got a fantastic online education center. I was going through it the other day and I thought to myself, wow, there's so many videos here. If there's something I don't know how to do, there's got to be a video here that'll tell me how to do it. And so it's good. Now, how can people access that?
Right through our greylock.org website, there's a place under your banking needs that has that training session out there. There's also classes that are out there in addition to our digital engagement. It has to do with budgeting and better understanding your credit score and things like that. So our website is I think a huge knowledge base for so many, and it does take a couple of clicks, to work through and figure out what you're looking for, but the resources there are amazing. I actually was refreshing my knowledge of it this morning, and I watched a video on something that I didn't know how to do, so it was useful for me.
Yeah, they're really great. They're done very well too.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're certainly welcome. So one of the things that we've come to find in this pandemic is that people are really hurting financially. Lots of people have lost their
Yeah.
jobs. Others,
Yeah.
affected by the market, things like that. And one of the things that Greylock participated in was Paycheck Protection Program loans. So
Right.
PPP. So
Hmm.
talk about that for a minute. You guys tell me how you guys handled that. What was the process?
Tom, I'd be happy to take that question. When the PPP concept came out, it was one of those things that we had to do. We couldn't stop and really think about the process involved, but what we needed to do is to make sure that we could get the money in the hands of our community. And if we didn't do it and the other community banks didn't do it, how were we going to prop up our local economy, and how were we going to keep people in their jobs? So we hustled with not a lot of guidance. Very very grateful for the CARES Act and what it provided, but there wasn't a lot of detail on how a banker was supposed to get this done. So we worked with it, started accepting applications, learned on the fly, and adjusted as we went. One thing that we saw during this time is that it was easy for a borrower who had been established in their business for quite some time to be able to apply for it. But for the smaller business, for the sole proprietor or the minority business owner, it was really a cumbersome task. It was very hard for them to access. So we really wanted to open it up. So we started building out our website again, as well as offering some webinars to encourage people to apply and to show them that it wasn't that scary, because we needed to prop up all aspects of the economy.
Hmm.
I think at the end, we're still processing applications now. We're seeing 5 to 10 applications coming in every week. Put about $29 million out there, and a number of our other community banks did the same, did great numbers.
Yeah.
And without that participation in the program, it would be really scary what we'd see happening right here in the county.
Oh, sure. A lot of people's lives have been helped by that. It's a lot of money
Yeah.
too. So I'm going to throw a couple of initials, or not initials, but some, I guess, initials out and ask you about these. Greylock is CDFI and LIDCU.
Hmm.
So first of all, for those of us who may not know exactly what that stands for, tell us that first, and then explain how you apply that to your inclusive model in this,
Sure. Thank you.
well,
Yeah,
in the pandemic.
we are a CDFI, which means Community Development Financial Institution, and all that. It's a designation provided by U.S. Treasury to institutions that are mission driven, meaning our number one job is strengthening community. And so we have that philosophy, and we are in a market that they deem to be in need of a mission-driven institution, so a higher needs region.
Hmm.
Our region is rural. There's a lot of folks here working in the hospitality and tourism who have relatively low wages. And so U.S. Treasury looked at Greylock's business model and the needs of our community and said, yes, Greylock qualifies as a community development financial institution.
Hmm.
Low income designation, or LID, is another designation by another federal agency, which relatively similar. If a lot of our members are low income and we're doing mission driven activities, then our regulator grants us that designation. We've had those designations for about 5 years. And
Okay.
Jodi has provided really important leadership. I'd love to have her talk about how those programs have provided benefit into the community. But what you should know, and your listeners should know, is those designations simply mean that to us as a not-for-profit financial cooperative, we're doing our jobs. That's what we should be doing in the community, is just getting done whatever needs to be done to help the community be stronger and help everyone access affordable financial services from folks that they can trust.
Sure. Jodi,
Sure.
what can you add to that?
Oh, so much. We only have a few minutes.
True.
So, being a CDFI is a way for us to actually put gas on our fire, right? So, as a community development credit union with a strong mission, vision, and values to support our local community, the CDFI allows us to access some grant funds that help fund some of our loan programs that help us provide loans to people that may be credit challenged, provide loans to people that other financial institutions may have turned their back to, and to provide education and coaching and support for many members in order to achieve, full financial inclusion in our U.S. economy. I find that many times that people are afraid to enter into the bank. The credit union. They don't like to ask a lot of questions. The CDFI status, along with the funding, helps fund a number of our financial coaches. And if I may just expand on that for a moment, we
Please.
have a number of certified financial coaches who are trained to provide support and guidance to families and individuals who just need somebody else to ask a question to. They might not feel comfortable asking at the teller line. They might not be comfortable asking a family or friend. How do I get a mortgage? How do I fix my credit? How do I really plan for my retirement? So it can be from helping people out of a problem or a challenge to helping them plan for a strong financial future, whether it's that second home in Florida or whether it's just trying to figure out how they're going to feed their family for the week. That's what our coaches are doing at the credit union. And I think that that's one of the key pieces of our CDFI, as well as a strong foundation of what Greylock Federal stands for and how we support our community.
How do people go about getting information on that, or contacting someone if they would like those services?
Excellent, Tom. I'm so glad you asked. So any of our branch environments can refer business or refer the person over to the coach, but we do have a coaching phone number. So if I could share that, it's
Sure.
413-344-1026. So if you're thinking about a financial problem in your life, or a challenge or a goal that you want to achieve, and you'd like to speak to somebody who is skilled, who can keep it confidential and help you achieve what your dreams are, please give us a call at 413-344-1026.
All right. Here on City Talk this morning with John Bissell, President and CEO at Greylock Federal Credit Union, as well as Jodi Rathbun-Briggs, the Senior Vice President and Chief Lending Officer. We're talking about banking in the COVID-19 world, I guess, here this morning. So with the pandemic, things like crime and fraud have kind of slowed down a little bit, but they didn't go away.
Right.
And we see just recently, in fact, this week, there was a big fraud case. I'm sure you guys read about it in the paper and saw the TV news and all that stuff. First of all, how does Greylock deal with that? If somebody calls you and says, I think, but I'm a victim of fraud, or somebody's been, messing with my account. First, how does somebody get in touch with the right person for that, and what goes on from there?
Yeah, so the great news is it's this just calling our folks at our primary phone numbers is the way. We don't just there's people all over the organization that have the expertise and the tools to assess what's happening, look at a questionable transaction with the member. We also have some partners that we do work with, and some of our bigger technology providers have special tools in their toolkit to help us. There's also some ways that consumers can help protect themselves or members can help protect themselves. The number one is knowledge. All the tools we were talking about before on our website, the coaching that Jodi was talking about, all of that helps someone to be more prepared to resist the impact of fraud in the first place, less susceptible to fall for something.
Hmm.
The cardinal rule is if it sounds too good to be true, it is. And there's all kinds of online hygiene that we encourage folks to practice, and there's a ton of information on our site about that. We have a service called Card Valet, where a person can register their debit card. They can turn their debit card on and off. And so if they turn their debit card off, a fraudster can't use the number even if they've gotten hold of it somehow. And you can
Hmm.
get an alert when your debit card has been used for a transaction. We have a number of other services that are able to help folks prevent, and also a lot of expertise to help them resolve fraud when it does happen. And
Sure.
you're right, it is happening. The other thing I want to emphasize is there's a uh, constant presence of predatory, not just fraudsters, but predatory lenders. And we are seeing certainly in our market and across our country that the COVID-19 crisis is impacting communities of color much greater than it is everyone else. Everyone's impacted, but communities of color are particularly impacted. And we are here. I want to make sure people know that we're here to help bring about fairness and equity in the banking system as much as we possibly can. We're aware that systemic racism has impacted the banking system for years in this country, and we're trying to offer a difference. We're working hard to make sure that we are achieving full financial inclusion for everyone. During the 2008 financial crisis, 53% of Black wealth was wiped out. That just shows you
Mm.
the way that these crises disproportionately impact folks. We are aware of that, and so we're trying to be conscious of that and how we're addressing the impact of this particular crisis as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As we've got a few minutes left here on City Talk this morning. Uh, we're in, I guess, what Governor Baker has called the new normal now, and as we go forward in that, um, in what ways is Greylock prepared to deal with the post-pandemic era and over the long haul in the impacts that this time is having on us now?
Yeah,
If that makes
I'll
sense.
say a
And I,
couple. Yeah, I'll say just a couple of quick words about that, and then maybe Jodi can offer her
yeah.
thoughts on it. What we want people to know is that for the foreseeable future, I'm thinking at least 1 to 2 years, while masks and physical distancing are a reality of our economy, broadly speaking, we expect that the online channels, the drive-up channels, and the phone channels will continue to be the best ways for people to interact with Greylock. We do see offering some limited branch lobby access, but we think those other channels are going to be better and safer for most folks. So if they've been waiting to become an online banker, this is the time. I wouldn't
For
wait.
sure. Yeah.
And as far as the ongoing work, our philosophies have not changed and they will not change. We're here to provide financial inclusion. We're here for the whole community. We may need to do that differently and through different channels in different ways, but our philosophies are exactly the same as they've always been.
Okay. Anything to add there, Jody, as we wrap up here?
Yeah, that was well said, John. As we prepare for the near term and the longer term, it's important for us to be there for our members to help them meet whatever their needs are. Some of them can't make their payments right now. Some of our listeners are
Mm.
struggling with their car payments or their small business loans. The important thing for them to know is that we're here for them. Please reach out. The sooner that you're talking with us, the better off that you and your family will be.
Well, I've got to tell you, I've been a member at Greylock for years and years since I've been in the Berkshires, and I appreciate the good work that you guys do. So keep it up. And I know the community is appreciative of your efforts.
Well, thank you, Tom. Thanks for your business.
Oh, sure, man, my pleasure. With John Bissell this morning, CEO and president, of course, of a Greylock Federal Credit Union, and Jodi Rathbun-Briggs, as Senior Vice President and Chief Lending Officer at Greylock. Thank you so much, both of you, for being with us on City Talk this morning. It's been a real pleasure having you.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks for having us.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Tom. It was our pleasure.
Mine too. That's going to do it for City Talk this morning. We will talk to you guys again very soon. Take care.